I know what you're thinking, but you're safe here. It's okay to not be okay. And self-love is always going to be the best love. Self-care is going to be the best care. Now, join me as we let out some steam, become a little less stressed and more carefree. Come join me over our weekend detox, and let's detox together, because we always want to protect our energy. Good evening, morning, or afternoon, depending on what time you're listening to this. This is Reiku, your friendly neighborhood witch, anxiety-filled, human being in the flesh. And we are here today because it is podcast day. We're talking about mental health and all the good vibes. I have a lot of beautiful, beautiful kings here that's going to be here talking about some different aspects on mental health and the stigmas that is in the mental health community, especially when it comes to African American men. I'm very happy to have everyone here. I'm going to give a moment for everyone to introduce themselves once my sister has them. I'm going to take it one moment at a time to go ahead and have each person come and talk. First person I want to go ahead and unmute will Mr. Vincent. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. I am the owner of the This Dude and His Wife YouTube channel. I also have a couple of small businesses that I am working on. I'm a father of 3 very, very irritating children. I love them to death, though. I'm also the husband of a magnificently beautiful Black woman. I pretty much think that explains everything we need to know about me, unless there's more questions later on.
Of course, there's always going to be more questions, especially when we're talking about mental health. There's a lot of different things and different aspects.
Facts.
All right. So, Mr. LR Chronicles, Mr. Walker, go ahead. Let's talk.
Yes. Yes. Marquise Walker, also known as LRK, also known as LRK Chronicle, photographer, artist, entrepreneur, creative, curator, videographer. Have a father of a beautiful boy, aggravating as well. So 4 years old, and he's in that phase where he just asks why a lot. So yeah, not a fun phase to be in, but a phase nonetheless. So it'll come and go.
All right. Next we have Mr. Zeb. I don't think you guys really need too much of an introduction if you've actually paid attention to my podcast. He's been on there a few times, but Zeb, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Unless I lost him. Zeb?
No, I'm still here. So let's see. I am you can just call me Zeb. Trying to pronounce my whole name is basically just going to lead to terrible grammatical problems. I am a self-published author, father of 3, breaker of chains, mother of drag. That's a Game of Thrones thing. Never mind. So aside from the things I mentioned, just me, just regular old me.
You failed to mention hype man, motivational speaker, spokesperson. Like, oh, you that poem? Push that shit. You need to do it.
Yeah. There is the title of Grand Hyper of dope ass women. So that's more of a given title that wasn't earned. It wasn't like a thing. It wasn't a promotional deal. That was just something that just happened.
All right, thank you, Zeb. Santana, tell us about yourself.
What's good? My name is Santana Lagrome, aka Awkward Groove. Artist, recording artist, dancer, part-time Shinigami, anime lover, chocolate lover.
Hey, yes, yeah, the coolest big bro in the world, for real.
Um, I'm not sure what to say about myself. I'm awkward with this. Awkward with this shit.
Don't worry about it. I love it. I love it. Just be your unapologetic self. Don't worry about it. That's what we're here for. This is a safe space. We don't judge you for you being you.
Bet.
All right, guys. So at this current time, I am so happy that you guys are here today, and we're gonna actually just go ahead and dive into some of these subjects and stuff. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What about what's mental health to you? I mean, you guys, if you've ever had a conversation with me, you should already know how I feel about mental health and about breaking mental health. Because the fact of being, I actually had to take control of my mental health. I grew up in an abusive household and went from one abusive household to a mentally and emotionally abusive household, very military-based father. And then me growing up in the time that I grew up, my parents are the products of the 70s. So if you go to them telling them that you're being abused, you're being touched, or anything else like that, they look at you like, stop lying, go sit down, and things of that nature. So when I went from one parent household to another parent household and told one parent, hey, I was being abused in this household, like I had my ribs kicked in, and a lot of this stuff was going on, it took them until I was 26 years old, which was less than 5 years ago, to realize that everything I was saying was true, that I do have trauma and things like that. It took me physically going to seek that, hey, there's something wrong. I need to go seek help. And it's funny because when I look back at it, I was 15 years old when I moved in with my dad. And I told him, I was like, I don't want to move back there because if I move back there, I'm going to end up on drugs, pregnant, in jail, or worse, dead. And my dad thought I was just talking out my ass at 15. So guys, what about y'all? What made y'all decide to go down the route of mental health? I will say, let's start with Santana because that's like my bro. So I'm going to start there because we ended with him.
What made me go down the route of mental health, in all honesty, because I didn't grow up in a household that really knew what the hell mental health was. Like, I learned what depression was, but I didn't know what I learned the word depression in like 14, but I didn't know what it really was. It wasn't some, like, our feelings and stuff wasn't something we talked about. So, like, it wasn't. And I didn't grow up, I wouldn't say I grew up in an abusive home, but it wasn't the most emotionally, it wasn't an environment that fostered emotional security or stability. So what pushed me to mental health, honestly, was I was on my second suicide attempt. I had to Baker Act myself.
Yeah. So that's how most of us actually get there. I actually told somebody that black people have the highest suicide rate. We just don't have it documented.
And a lot of people were killing themselves, not just like in the traditional sense. A lot of them doing it slowly too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and we'll go to Zeb real quick. Zeb, what is mental health to you, and what made you go down this route?
That's a loaded question. Let's see, because it's like if I had a bag that I could just reach in and pull out like the 24 different papers with excuses or reasons that I should have been in some therapist's chair, that probably would take the whole segment. So what I'm going to say instead is two really big things were the linchpin in me seeking mental health services. First and foremost was I needed peace of mind. like not peace of mind, like just like a tiny piece, like a portion. I needed literal peace of mind. I couldn't
I have to chat up.
sleep. I couldn't eat on a regular schedule. I didn't care. Like there was a definitive lack of fucks given to myself from myself. And I realized nobody else was there to give a fuck either. So I realized it was kind of a solo mission. So I had to, like actually do something about it. So there's that, and a lot of childhood trauma, abandonment issues, mental, emotional, sexual abuse. I found out Power Rangers weren't real. Like that all. I mean, you laugh.
Hey, no, that's the one. That's the one. Why you playing?
Yeah, for real. Like that
Like,
hurt.
as soon as you're like, nigga, like, Batman isn't in a city somewhere, like, punching niggas who do the kind of shit I gotta survive through every day. Like, there's no heroes, not for real, for real. Cops take payoffs, shit like that. Like, it puts things in perspective real quick that, like, you actually might have to save yourself. So, for me, that was the main push for me to just get into a therapist's office.
I think that's the case for most of us. It took me I'm a 3-time suicide attempt survivor. That's the reason why I do have my little semicolon on my wrist. The 3rd time wasn't even intentional. It was just more like I wanted to not feel physical pain. And I took too many meds. And then by the time I knew it was too late, I was just like, oh, fuck. I was texting everybody like, I love you. And anybody who knows me knows I do not just go out of my way and say I love you. Because of my past experiences with the word love and witnessing what I witnessed in love. So, but, on to the next one. Mr. Walker.
For me, per se, I would say same thing. It's kind of like awkward as far as I didn't really grow in a household that knew too much about mental health. My father, on one hand, he's an old school dad, old school father, was raised by his grandparents, didn't know his dad, so already there's trauma right there in the background of my family dynamic. And his really didn't have a relationship with his mother either. So with that being said, my dad was always grew up in you talking about 40s and 50s generations. So now trying to instill that dynamic into us, it's a little bit different and a little bit outdated as well. But I never blame my father. He did the best that he could. I can't really say I grew up in an abusive household. I would say I grew up in a not affectionate household. And, between him and my mother, neither one of them were really like affectionate towards us. So, and I think that's just unfortunately normal how Black parents raise Black men nowadays. So, it tends to make us grow up and, we then become less affectionate towards everything and, non-emotional, and we don't really show our feelings, but, that's, of course, a whole different subject. But I really didn't, honestly, I didn't really take, I would say, mental health as much seriously at all until I had my son. And he's 4 years old now. So when she was pregnant with him, that's when like a lot of stuff just started to become more real with me. And that's when I started seeking like just doing things as far as meditation and all these things, and learning about anxiety and all this different stuff. So that's when I learned more about mental health, and I spoke, and it's surprising I started coming across more people that are important to my life now, where they were also dealing with mental health issues. And I think a lot more Black people are coming out to the forefront with it now. And now we're becoming aware of it because, I mean, before back when I was a kid, I never heard anything about no mental health, suicide.
No, that's the devil. Let that go, baby. Pray on it. Let it go.
Exactly. Or take some NyQuil. Like, nothing wrong.
Take
with
a nap. You'll be over it. You'll be
Yeah.
No, mine was Robitussin. It was Robitussin. My family's from the Midwest, Chicago.
Yeah,
some
like,
Robitussin.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think I'm glad that more Black people are starting to become more active in that community. I'm doing something actually that I haven't done in years that I've been wanting to do, but I finally just took the first steps to do, which is I have a therapy session soon. So.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something
I love to see it. All right, so last but not least, because we started with him first, Mr. Vincent, go ahead. Tell us about what is mental health to you and what made you go down the line to better your mental health.
I don't really have a what is mental health to me. I'm still sort of kind of figuring that out. I'm going to venture the guess that I'm a little bit, not a lot of bit, just a little bit older than all of y'all. I'm almost 40. I'm knocking on the door. And my father...
Go ahead, Zeb.
I said it was a guess. I'm looking at the color in everybody's hair. It don't really look like mine. So,
Word.
My father being from... Like, he grew up in the 60s, 70s as well. Also military. Also was the only boy in his family. He came from a family of, altogether there were 5 of them. And he was the youngest and the only boy. He knew who his daddy was, but my father's father and I spoke twice. And those 2 times before he passed away was more times than my father saw him growing up. And then, so my daddy was doing what he could, but he was, to give you perspective, by the age of 10, I could do 108 push-ups. And I could do push-ups anywhere in the world. We would do them in the grocery store. We would do them in the parking lot at the mall. We would do them in the middle of church services. Didn't matter. My father was doing everything that he knew how to do to correct problems. As far as my experiences with mental health, I feel like they're going to match what everybody else has already said. In my household, if you heard the words mental health, you also heard the words white people. Because only white people have mental health issues. Black people don't have mental health issues. White people crazy and something wrong with them anyway. So obviously that's not a us thing. Depression, my niggas, you an old white woman? No. So you don't have depression. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. You're not depressed. You talk about killing yourself?
Facts.
Talk about killing yourself in my house, and my father would invite you to the kitchen to find a knife.
That was just my dad.
Yep.
My dad told me to be like a cat and go die. Like, I told my dad, I was like, I would do it. And he told me to go be like a cat and go find a place to die. I was like, damn.
It's like verbatim. My father said, if you're going to do it, you better do it right. Because if you survive it, I'm going to fuck you up.
Oh, God. But that's so common.
I felt the love in that statement.
It's all the love in the world, right? My father was, again, my father did everything that he could. My mother abandoned us, so all we had was him. And I mean that. She took me and my sister and my brother, dropped us off at my grandmother's house. And we didn't see her again for 11 years. So my dad was doing everything that he possibly could to be everything that we needed. We had a bunch of aunts and stuff, but my father was of the opinion that he needed to be the one doing whatever it was because we was his damn kids and not everybody else's.
Yeah. I get that.
Right. So it's a lot, like, there's a whole lot more involved in that, but this ain't a therapy session, so I ain't gonna go into all of that.
I mean, this is a safe space, but I mean, if you don't want to give all your business out on a podcast, I got you.
I'm good. I'm just trying to let people know there's a lot of things that a lot of people go through, and a lot of us grow up and we become okay with those traumas that we feel. We normalize the trauma instead of normalizing the cure.
Exactly.
And to be quite honest with you, the reason why I say that I'm still learning, I'm still getting to my definition of mental health, because at 35 is when I finally admitted maybe I do need to see somebody. And I only did that because one of my children looked at me and said, Dad, I don't know how to feel about the way you treat me, because you say you love me, but you always yelling. It's always a punishment. Like the only time we talk to you is when we in trouble.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah,
That
your
can
kids
hit-
will
and
make
that
you.
hits
Yeah, your
different
kids
when
will
it
make
comes
you
from your
realize some
kid.
shit in a heartbeat.
So I'm looking around like, nigga, I say I love you all the time. He said, yeah, you say it, but then right behind that, like, first of all, you only say you love us when we're in the middle of a punishment. I love you, but you pushing me through this. That's what you always say. You always say something like that. Then you always say you love us, and then we don't see you because you at work. Then you always say you love us, but when we want to talk about something we want to talk about, is get out my goddamn face because I'm busy doing something, or you busy dealing with something that you don't want us to deal with. You hide everything from us. The only emotion we get from you is anger. How are we supposed to know what love from you look like?
Because you probably wasn't nearly exposed to it as a kid.
I ain't know how. So my immediate response, and I'm not gonna front to you, my immediate response when he was saying that to me was, shut your bitch ass up. Get out my
So I can't even blame you. That would be the initial reaction. I think that's the initial reaction for any black man. But
because to me, the way that I was raised, the way that I was viewing emotional education, emotional maturity, was from the lens of women do that. That's like, you gonna be emotional with me is gonna be, hey man, I love you.
Yep. Real talk.
That about it. Like, ain't nobody died. What you crying for?
yeah.
Like, I used to say something used to piss my wife off. I used to tell our middle son all the time, if you feel like you gotta cry about something, cry about it. But get the fuck over it, because you got shit to do. I'm sorry. Can we cuss? I'm sorry.
You're fine. I've had a whole
After the
podcast
fifth
episode
cuss
about
word,
sex and poly and relationships. This is it's one of those things. Yes, it's a respect thing. I get, but we're adults here. My podcast is 18 plus. Okay, because cool. I do talk about subjects that people are taboo about.
Okay.
So yeah, I get it. Like, honestly, I grew up with two parents who didn't know how to express love. The only thing I really witnessed from my grandparents' standpoint was my grandfather was the coldest person in the world, and he was very distant. And my grandmother, they lived in a household together, but they weren't together. So my dad was around that growing up. So he was also the second youngest out of 4 kids, and 3 of them were boys, 1 female. So he grew up hearing, boys don't cry. You just got to do what you need to do. Like, you don't need to cry about it. Just push through it. And when he got me, because I'm the oldest child, he kind of treated me like he would a boy. So I grew up watching wrestling. I grew up basically, no, you need to be strong. You need to this. You need to do that. And so for me, like, I was always under the impression to not tell somebody I love them unless I meant it, even if I was mad at them at that moment. And it's just like, when my dad left, then I was around my mom, who was in relationships where love wasn't actually really shown in a proper, healthy way either. So when I say that, when we got exposed to mental health other than through our parents, like, I grew up with my mom, but my mom used to watch old stuff like Good Times. And, you know, I still to this day will sit here and watch Good Times in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, that's my shit.
Looking at, you know, the characters in that, and, you know, they didn't really express. You just kind of get through it. You be angry. They're always angry. And as black people, we're just portrayed as the only real emotions men feel is anger and hypersexuality. So that's how you guys are basically pictured. You guys are not pictured as men who are going to be emotional and cry. So when you look at society and look at how we have been portrayed through history, that's kind of how we kind of are conditioned now, because of how Hollywood has portrayed us and how we have basically been raised to be. It's just like, we need to get through it. We've gone through, our ancestors went through slavery. We have no reason to cry.
Yeah, so that is definitely a valid point. Then if you're talking about representation, or at least how men are generally viewed as far as the media and society, we're inept. In every sitcom, anything else, we're either inept or we're control freaks. If you have an episode where the father has to take care of the kids, he doesn't know how to put on a diaper. He doesn't know what he's doing. He always has some crazy solution to a basic ass problem.
Oh, Santana.
We're just constantly played as either idiots or control freaks.
Or we can't cook.
Emotionless punishment machines. Yeah, that's the only time we're passionate is about our women or our barbecue. And it's like, that's real fucked up.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, though. As a grown man who has a culinary degree, the fact that most men in television can't cook pisses me off.
Yep.
It's bullshit. It's some bullshit.
Yeah, it is a bullshit.
Pisses me off. I know more men who cook better than the women they're with than the other way around. So I never could understand. I'm gonna guess at who this is with the echo.
It's Santana.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
my-
You good,
You're
brother?
fine.
I wasn't trying to call you out. I couldn't hear anything past. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you out like that.
He's good. We gonna get it together. Santana, you got the floor after him.
But I was just gonna say, like, it's a lot of things that fathers be doing on TV that's just normal stuff. Like, I hate to hear, oh, dad's babysitting today. What you mean, dad's babysitting today? These my kids. I take care of my kids on a regular basis.
Right.
I have my sons with me all the time. Like, it's places I go where when I don't have my kids with me, somebody be like, yo, where's your son? Where's such and such? How is he doing? How dare you show up without him? They're like, where they're supposed to be is with me. So when I hear some random say, oh, look at dad with his kids today. Bitch, I'm with my kids all the time.
Exactly. I felt that.
Yeah, me getting a round of applause or people just absolutely
Let's talk about this. Hold on, men.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no,
because
like when people find out I've been braiding my daughter's hair since she was born or doing her hair, automatically people are just like, "Oh my god, like you must have had all sisters.
Like,
You
someone
must have
gotta
like
pray.
grown up. Are you straight? Like, is it okay
Like,
for me to
you gotta
ask
be-
that? Is that
you
alright?
gotta be effeminate to take care of your kids.
Mm.
Ain't
That's
that
how they
bitch?
make it.
Sad.
Yeah, I don't like that, man. I don't feel like black fathers get celebrated enough, man.
Y'all do. I feel like you guys should get celebrated all the time because do you know how it irritates me? And I'm really gonna lose my female card on this. But I sit here and I tell this all the time to a lot of people. I've witnessed the bitter baby mama drama and a woman basically holding her kids over her baby daddy's head or these men's head.
Yep.
If you look at the statistic behind it, most of these women who sit here and like, oh, you need to come get your kid, make it so hard for these guys to actually get their kids to when the point where they actually say, you know what, fuck it. Now they are bad dad. Now they don't want to do it because this woman made it a impossible task just for them to be around their children. And I told my ex when me and him got divorced, I was like before we got divorced, I was like, if we ever have a child together, I will never hold that child against you because I witnessed it with my parents how that is where the mom's basically she's mad because now she done got knocked up and unfortunately it has nothing to really do with her. This actually comes back on society that when you're an unwed mother or you're a single parent, it's a negative feature. So they're mad because society has made them mad because they believe that they're supposed to be with the person they had a kid with. So we get mad and we sit here holding out against their head. We don't sit here and say, maybe it just didn't work out.
Exactly.
And I get a lot of females who get mad at me because the way I think, I'm like, why are you holding these kids against their father? The kids did not do nothing. They did not ask to be here. You chose to have sex with this person. It didn't work out because of whatever maturity level they are. And you're looking at that moment versus the full story, the baggage and everything that goes with it. And you're holding it against their head. Versus letting them have a healthy relationship with their parent and their father, you rather sit here and hold a child against them, which that does a lot of psyche on the man. It really does. They want to be a part of their child's life. They already got society beating them down, talking about, oh, you don't left your kids in the woods. Or even as a person who has witnessed
Out
that
in the
one
woods.
episode from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, how come he don't want me?
Right.
We already know how that feels. So then when a guy becomes a father, they don't want to be that stigma. They don't want to have their child in the middle of somebody else's living room crying, how come my daddy don't want me?
Nah, not at all, not at all. But see, a lot of people also don't take into the account, like you just said, like women will lash out from the relationship not working out, and then they'll take it out because they know the only way they can get to the father is through the kids. So, oh, now I'm gonna get through you through them, and it's like, okay, you making the kids suffer first of all, and then when a man finally say, okay, you know what, I got to protect myself now. I got to protect my own mental health, and then when they say, you know what, I'm gonna walk out my child's life because it's not that I want to, but at the end of the day, I can't be no good to my child if I got to keep going through this. When they get older, they'll understand. They'll learn, and that's sad and it's fucked up that some fathers have to do that. But in some cases, yeah, like actually in a lot of cases, yeah, like some fathers have to do that. Then you be like, damn, Dad, why you wasn't in my life for the last 20 years? And be like, well,
That
let's
part.
talk. Yeah, let's have that conversation now. You've been with your mom for the last however many years.
You know her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Santana, my love, you're the only one who other than me who ain't got no kids. So let's talk about it. So in your particular case, I know I love Brittany to death. When y'all have babies, it's gonna be the most adorable babies ever. But I'm gonna start it off with you by asking this: do you have any fears about being a father?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm
What
be
are some
honest,
of the
yes.
fears you think men go through when they find out their girl's pregnant?
Like, I can't speak for everybody else. I know for me personally, one thing that I am, like, one of my fears of being a father, and this is the thing I always think about, is whether I'm going to be a good father, like, an emotionally supportive father. Like, I want to be a, because I'm going through, like, going into therapy and just going through healing my traumas and everything, and just putting everything in perspective and realizing what I dealt with mine and everything. I just want to be what my children didn't have. I mean, yeah, I can do that financially. I know how to do that, but it's more so I want to be there emotionally for them and I want to be an emotionally present father because I didn't have that. Like, my birth father died when I was 1, so I was raised with my brother and them dad, calling him dad and everything. And he had been in my life since I was 6 months, so he had been around my whole life. So I got to see kind of a shitty father, because although I may have seen a nigga every day, every other day, he didn't. The only thing I ever learned from him was how to throw hands, shoot a gun, and fish. That's it. That's all I learned. Yeah, I can fish, but that's just that. I'm lucky. One of the lucky ones
You
that
from the
actually got to learn
South?
how to. Yeah, I'm from Miami.
Yeah.
And I'm Bahamian, so we island people. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I want to be emotionally present, and that's one thing I'm learning how to do now is how to control my emotions, respond and not react, and be emotionally present. Because my mom wasn't always isn't emotionally sensitive at all. She raised 2 boys, me being the oldest and my little brother, then my sister. And then she was raised around a bunch of boys because my grandma raised her, then 2 boys. And, like, we grew up, boys don't cry. Stop all that crying. Don't cry about that shit. Like,
Yeah, facts. I hate when they be telling my damn son that. I'll be like, no, don't do that.
I'm like, let that shit out. And, like, I took me to my uncle telling me, it's all right to cry. Let that shit out. Who was a felon telling me it's okay to cry. Let that shit out.
Because honestly, at the end of the day, I can just say it like this. I witnessed, being the oldest, my brother kind of was the one that they kind of was like, they babied him, but they also told him he can't cry. Like, boys don't cry. And being that I was kind of raised as a boy almost in a way, I'm feminist all get out. I would buy a dress in a heartbeat, so don't let that fool you. But I was raised basically believing that emotions were only meant to be used for when somebody passed away or when somebody got married. So when my brother came through it, it was just only time you should be crying is when somebody passed away. So watching him grow up and watching how my parents treated him, like, they were like, no, boys don't need to cry. They just need to suck it up, keep it moving. Rub some dirt in that. You don't need to cry about that, boo-boo. Like, you know, things like that nature. And the thing is, I feel like it kind of is counterproductive, especially when young men become men. Because at that point, when you get into it, now you're getting heartbroken, but you're not crying about it. You're finding unhealthy ways to get through heartbreak. You're finding unhealthy ways to get through, you know, tragic experiences in your life. You're just basically, you being emotionally unattached because you weren't around emotionally attached people. So you taking those steps to, you know, better yourself, saying that, you know what, it's okay for me to cry. It's okay to not be okay. It makes you more emotionally attentive in your relationships, with your friends, your family, your partners, everything else like that. So you taking those steps is going to secure you later down the line when you are ready to have a child. And then when you do have a son of your own, you could tell him, talk to me, go talk to your emotions. Because a lot of those kids, when you tell them don't cry and they actually do cry, they experience anxiety with it. Because now they're afraid to cry because you done told them they shouldn't be crying. So
exactly.
That's in the case of a little boy. Now, the little girl, most men don't know how to handle girls because they are not emotionally attached or they've never been around an emotionally available father figure. So, Zeb, I'm going to let you take the floor on this because you are a father to 2 girls and you have talked to me a little bit about how you've expressed to your daughters about expressing their emotions.
Yeah. I know my video's going to go back out, but I'm going to video up real quick and see if hopefully it'll stick this time. Oh, I do exist. So, there's a lot with my firstborn daughter. I have several things, I guess, to kind of round out what I'm trying to say. The first thing is, when you're dealing with a situation where you and the mother of your children are not in a relationship, the thing is, I grew up with the idea that any dad who wasn't there for his kids was either a felon or a deadbeat. It had to be one or the other. Until I was about 22. And then I started actually meeting people who were explaining things to me, and I had somebody explain something to me in a way that I can't really... It's a real fucked up toxic way to explain it, so I'm going to try putting it out in a very different metaphor. Imagine that you and another person buy a dog. So you get a dog together, and you're the one who gives the dog his evening walk. So your partner takes the dog in the morning, you take the dog in the evening. And you and this person don't speak anymore. But you can't take the dog with you. You got no room to take the dog. But you still come by to play with the dog. You still come by to see the dog. But you hear from your neighbors in the middle of the night, she's cursing at the dog because the dog wants to go out. The dog's used to you taking him out. So this person is kicking the dog, yelling at the dog, treating the dog bad, and you know that. So if you know you can't be there, and you know you don't have room to take the dog with you, the only option you really have to make sure the dog isn't getting the shit kicked out of him is to remove yourself from the situation. Maybe the dog is better off if the dog just forgets about you and settles into a life with the person who's caretaking for the dog. Maybe they'll treat the dog better if you're not around. Maybe the dog has a fair chance to develop a different schedule, learn new tricks, be treated better if the dog just forgets you exist. And as ugly as it is, like, I knew I mentally wasn't 100%. Like, the older that I got, I started having worse night terrors. I was having anxiety attacks that I didn't know were anxiety attacks. I was 99% sure I was having fucking heart attacks because my grandfather had a heart attack when I was like 10. And to this day, like, that man is the most important man who's ever been in my life. But, like, I kept thinking, all right, you're going to have a heart attack. Just calm down. Because my heart would just be beating out of my chest. But, like, when you learn to compartmentalize your feelings and people are telling you the symptoms of a panic attack, it's like, okay, well, I'm not hyperventilating. I'm not crying. I'm not shaking. My heart's just beating real fast. You just need to drink some water. Calm down. Breathe it out. You'll be fine. And these anxiety attacks just started getting to the point where they were full body anxiety attacks. And it got to the point where it was like, it didn't matter if I had been to the bathroom 10 minutes before it happened, had the immediate need to pee, had the immediate sensation of cramps all over my body, just from head to toe, just my whole body was just fucking tight. And years later, when I'm explaining this to a therapist, they're like, oh, so you've been having panic attacks most of your life. And I'm like, no. Like, it was just, it must have been like, I just might not have drank enough water, or I might have been drinking too much water. Like, but no, that's, like, I wasn't crying or anything. It was just, you know, my body was just being weird. And it's like, no, you were having full-blown panic attacks. So when I was having all these symptoms and all this shit was going on, and me and my firstborn child's mom were not on great terms because I was with another person by then, it was like she didn't treat me poorly, and she didn't treat my child poorly. But the issue at that point was just, there was this huge distance where if I would come over to visit my daughter, it was on her time. And I would notice all of this space between the last time I saw her and the next time I saw her. When I see her, you know, this week, you know, she's barely just mumbling, and the next time she's saying full-blown words. The next time she's, you know, walking around and holding on to furniture. The next time I see her, she's not holding on to furniture anymore. I'm asking about bottles. The next time I come around, it's like, oh, well, don't forget to add the cereal to it. And it's like, she's got cereal in the bottles now? Like, what? I was always a step behind, and I'm like, well, maybe she's better off without me. Maybe she's being taken better care of without me being involved, because I got to ask all these questions. I got to remember all this shit that's been added to the schedule. I got to keep on trying to figure out how not to fuck her up.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know the best way to not fuck up my kid, because obviously I'm fucked up. So I was there, but I was always like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because I didn't want to. She was honestly so precious to me that I didn't want to misstep.
And I know even
for me,
what
it
the
was like
conversations
navigating
me and
a
you have
mindset.
now with recent events with your oldest daughter, I know that you've been experiencing anxiety with that because you're not there to really talk to her and console her, but she is a lot older now where if she wanted to reach out to you, she could. So,
like, yeah, now I can communicate with her like a person. When a kid is a kid, you got to be real careful. You can't just tell a 1 to 4 year old random shit like, you know what, daddy's having some panic attacks and shit, and work sucks. So, you know how the man is, hold you down, put his boot on your neck, and the kid's just looking at you like, I asked for apple juice. I don't know where any of this is coming from.
like, what do you expect me to do?
So you can't have those conversations with little kids, and I knew at least that much. So I had a lot of shit internalized, but now I can talk to her about, and she's actually becoming curious. She's like, oh, Jesus, she'll be 16 soon. But, like, I can talk to her on an intellectual, she's just as smart as I am, like, possibly more so, which is just scary. It's scary to be able to have an intellectual conversation with your 15-year-old. And
Yes.
to be able to actually kind of lay out where you're at, where you were, what was up. Like, there are certain things that, like, she wants to do. And, like, I'm 100% for it. She can tell me she wants to be an astronaut, and I'm like, so where's this space camp at you're trying to go to? Let me see what strings I can pull to get that worked out. But the main issue for me being a father of that particular child was just getting to a point where I could communicate with her honestly, because I had no frame of reference, I had no rapport, I had no time in to have those conversations. And now she can relate to what I'm saying. She gets it. I can have full-blown, frank and honest discussions with her about a lot, including like her grandfather, like my dad. And having to tell your child, well, you know, my father was a philanderer and kind of a man whore and also a pedophile and was sexually and emotionally abusive, and I promised myself that even if you were in my life every day, he wasn't ever going to meet you. He was never going to be able to spend any time with you. I was never going to leave him in a room with you to babysit because I couldn't trust it. And she had to process that. Like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, yeah, it is a lot. And if you want to talk about it, like if you want to have any words over it, like there are things he taught me how to do that are good, but for the most part, yeah, my dad was a villain, and I'm very sorry because you deserved better from me and from the other older male figures in your life. My youngest daughter that I'm raising now that I'm attempting to co-parent with a woman who hates my guts. This is the...
I don't even want to talk about her. We're not going to talk about her. We're going to just talk about your anxieties when you found out she was pregnant. Because you already know how I feel about your baby mama. Like,
right? Like, I have a full-blown relationship, a camaraderie with my youngest child. And I got better with therapy where I could actually communicate with her more effectively and more calmly. And to every man listening, including the people I'm in the panel with, do me a huge favor and do yourself a huge favor. If you have any pictures of yourself as a kid between the ages of 3 and 10, take that picture, print it out, keep it in your wallet. Anytime your kid does anything, comes to you with anything, whether it's like, oh, Dad, I flipped this level in a video game, or, you know, I got mad and I shoved this other kid and I know the rules say don't do that, take that picture out. Just flip your wallet open real quick. Whatever you're going to say to your kid, look at that picture of yourself, and I dare you to say the same shit to your own face.
Yeah.
That's dope.
See?
That's dope.
Nah.
If you wouldn't say that shit to yourself at 8 or 9 years old, don't say that shit to your kid.
Yeah, exactly. I resonate that with so heavily because I had a moment with my son where he was in the back seat of my car, right? And he did something very good, and I was like, you know what? Out of the blue, I just told him, I was like, son, I'm proud of you. And he looked at me and like kind of paused. And he was like you could tell, like I was like, thank you, Dad. I really needed to hear that. And my eyes started watering up because it was just like, I saw me in him in that moment, because that's something I always wanted to hear, especially from my father. It was just, I'm proud of you, son.
Yeah, like, and the thing is, that's not a thing, and it's hard for you to recognize as you are growing up, but it's not a thing your kid should have to earn. Oh, you got a good report card, I'm proud of you. You hit that home run, I'm proud of you. You cleaned your room, I'm proud of you. You did these dishes. I stopped my daughter on her way to just go to the fucking bathroom. Like, I love you very much. You're the most precious thing in my life. I'm proud of you for just being yourself. And she just looks at me like, I know, Dad, because I do it enough that if some nigga on the street decides to tell her, you so beautiful, you so bold, whatever,
it ain't gonna move her. It ain't gonna move her.
And so, my daddy's been giving me flowers since I was 4. My daddy's been giving me Valentine's Day presents every Valentine's Day since I was 3.
Thanks.
Flowers ain't gonna do that shit. You may as well, you barked at the wrong tree, sir. I'm real sorry for you.
Try harder.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a nigga who steps to my kid is gonna have to have more than just a dream of getting laid. Like, nigga, you're gonna have some effort and some fucking class, because my kid isn't gonna just fall for the fucking okie doke. That's why most of these girls are just out here like that, because
they weren't used to it.
They need some type of fucking validation. Like, tell me I'm pretty, tell me I'm important, tell me you need me. And when a nigga says they need you, it's like, well, I need you to show me what that mouth do. And it's like, if that's the case, then these girls will do that shit just to have some validation. And
Yo, I like where he's taking this. I like where he's taking
he's doing a good job over here.
He's spitting right now.
Don't get me wrong.
Right? He's spitting.
I'm just saying, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna be out here on somebody's daughter eventually, but like, niggas ain't getting the same turn on my kid. I'm sorry. What's good for the goose is not good for the motherfucking gander. You gonna try harder, my nigga. Like, this is.
Well, Zeb.
On the same vein, though.
I'm snatching them parenting tips.
So it's something that I always say to my sons, and I make them. I say it so much now that it's become like a mantra for us. First thing I say to you is, "What are you?" And they all say the same thing back. I'm a smart kid. When are you smart? I'm always smart. When are you not smart? I'm never not smart, but I do stupid things. But those things teach me what I did wrong, so I can continue being a smart kid.
That's that shit.
Yes.
Good job, man.
Smart, like.
Damn, boy. Did Denzel Washington write that?
We've been doing.
That might have been a deleted scene from John Q. I'm not sure.
That might be.
I had a father like that.
Nah, that's remember.
The fact is, though, that I got that from some dude on Twitter in 2009. The dude was on there. He had his son in front of him. He was like, "What are you?" The kid said, "I'm a king." He said, "How long have you been a king?" He said, "I've been a king for 3 lifetimes." And I just listened to the whole thing. It was really, really dope. So I started doing that with mine. It was like, "Yo, how old are you now?" It used to be, "How old are you now?" I'm old enough to be smarter than everybody else. Period. Then we got to, "I'm a smart kid." And I'm not trying to instill vanity. I'm trying to instill confidence. I'm trying to instill a pride in themselves. I'm trying to instill a pride in their work. When they do so, I tell my sons I'm proud of them for the dumbest stuff. So when you said that you're supposed to tell your kids that you're proud of them, I was like, I'm doing something right. Because I tell my kids I'm proud of them when they clean their fucking room without me asking.
I feel like
good job.
More fathers should be breathing affirmations into their children, especially if they're present in their child's lives. And the only way we can really start is with this generation who is out there trying to break these stigmas. Start telling your kids how amazing they are every day. Because I tell my little brother who's 13 years old, because my parents try to shelter him from a lot of shit when he was growing up. I'm like, he's already going to have these white kids looking at them like he's better than him. And if you don't breathe these words of like positivity into him and how smart he is or how amazing he is, he's going to have low self-esteem because he's going to be picked on. I have another brother who's 14 years old, and when I tell you, he is the sweetest, most timid child, but then when you talk to him, he is so smart, but he has so much self-doubt in himself. I tell him, I'm like, if you are not okay, come talk to me. Because no offense, my oldest brother who's 25, about to be 26, and my mom, they both kind of say, boys don't need to cry. Don't need to cry. Stop being like that. Don't do that. And I'm like, I look at my mom, I'm like, you're the mother. You're supposed to tell your son it's okay to not be okay. You're supposed to let your child let out that frustration. He's so scared to let out his emotions because nobody's telling him it's okay. And the fact that he doesn't feel like he's smart because nobody's telling him how smart he is. When my mom's mad because my mom's a prime defender.
Yeah. Also, I think something that we deal with a lot of is the fear of failure.
Yes.
Because
bang, bang.
You can't fail, or you're this and you're that, and I think that fear sometimes also paralyzes adults. Shit, it paralyzes me. I can't even front.
Child.
That's something I'm pretty sure, but that's also been instilled in us as well. So it's like, I don't want to make myself look a fool. I don't want to take this chance because I don't want to seem this way and look like a failure to everybody.
Ooh.
Damn all that.
I don't know if y'all remember this or if y'all parents ever said this, but don't go out there and embarrass me. Like I've
Don't
literally,
go
I
out
heard that
there.
shit
Yeah.
my entire life.
Yep.
So when I hear that, I tell people like this: I was raised to not fail because there are already odds stacked against me. So in order for me to succeed, I had to be the better at everything.
Yep, got to
I've
be
done
2
so.
times
I got
better.
my hands dapped in so much shit that to the point where people are like, "You played the violin for 4 years?" I was like, "Yes, I play the violin. Like, I still have a violin." "Oh, you play the keyboards?" "Yes, I play the keyboards because I had to be better than these other kids." "Oh, you graduate in the 15% with the Thespian Honor Society?" "Yes, because I had to be better than these white kids who thought they were better than me because I was raised in a household to believe that I didn't have. I'm less than nothing." So I had to prove to somebody that I was more than just nothing. I was something.
You had to earn a position of greatness instead of
Yeah.
being given the position
Exactly.
to play from.
Exactly.
And that's what's crazy is we don't do that. We think that we're teaching them to be stronger by giving them some hardship to deal with instead of putting them in a position of power and teaching them how to control that power. And that's a problem. If there's a woman who has a child, mostly a son, because I know those. I don't really know daughters that well. But the worst thing you can do to him is make him believe that everything will be given to him. You better teach him how to handle what he has. Teach him responsibility. Teach him that he is smart enough to do things. And then teach him what it is you expect him to do.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
You
That is
cannot
true.
tell that boy. You cannot tell that boy that he ain't shit because the whole world said that he ain't shit. So if you're telling him that he ain't shit and the world is telling him that he ain't shit, the only thing you've made is another ain't shit nigga on the street. And the first thing you gonna do is get mad when some little girl call him an ain't shit nigga. But you built an ain't shit nigga. And that's not just the women. Fellas out there who have sons, I'm talking to you niggas too. Stop doing everything for them to the point where they can't do for themselves. Teach
Yeah.
them how to handle what they have.
And it's also a mentality thing too. It's not just a whole talking. You have to tell them that it's okay to have an equal balance. You have to do shadow work with light work. You have to be able to cry in order to be happy. You have to be able to be mad in order to be happy. It's
And you
okay
gotta
to
fail
express
in order to
improperly.
succeed.
I was getting, because that's where I was going.
You
Because
got-
if you
yeah.
cannot be taught how to handle what you have, then you cannot be taught how to handle failure.
Yeah, the
Right.
thing is, there's
You can't be taught how to handle failure. If I can't teach you how to handle your lost wallet, then I can't teach you how to handle a lost business account. If I can't teach you how to handle learning how to tie your shoe, then I can't teach you how to handle your money. If I can't teach you how to count from 1 to 3, then I cannot teach you how to handle people talking down their nose to you. All of these things are different grades of difficulty.
It is.
all of those are different extensions of the same thing, though, and that one thing is empathy. We do not teach empathetic expression to children. We don't teach compassion. We don't teach kids that it's okay to fail or to fuck up, or if you do, it's not the end of the world. Half of us, myself included, as soon as I get out of the door, I'm like, oh shit, I'm running late for work. I might get fired. Like if I get fired, I'm not saying I want to get fired. Like, as much as you'll hear me say fuck this job, like, it's not like I'm trying to get fired. I'm not actively, like, you know, throwing my nuts on the table like, I dare you niggas. Like, that's not what it is. But
Not throwing my nuts on the table.
both of them, same time, one sack.
Like dice. Here they go.
Wow.
That is funny.
So,
Zach
like,
gets
it's-
in the
and it's
door.
not that, but, like,
I'm done. But
we exemplify that anxiety. We exemplify that anxiety
Whoa.
all the time. That need to constantly be perfect, that need to constantly be on, that need to not fail, to not let anyone down, because we know we're being held accountable.
Yeah.
And the male archetype, yes, we're supposed to be the strong ones, the leaders, the teachers, the fathers, the protectors, and everything else. But, like, we don't give ourselves
The room.
any slack when we fuck up.
Yeah, we
None.
don't give ourselves the room.
And society
Yeah.
doesn't do it for y'all either. And no offense to a lot of the women either. A lot of women who are not on the mental health journey, they are also believe that men are supposed to be a certain way too. So we believe that they're supposed to be this way, and they're not giving them the room to be slackful. That, oh, we're the emotional ones. In most cases, we need to realize that guys have emotions as well. That they are upset, that they're sad, that they're angry. And I tell people all the time that in order for you to be successful, you're going to fail. Because nobody has successfully won their first match. Most people have failed at attempts. Doors have closed in most of these successful people's faces. Some of these people who are famous now, they didn't go to college. They dropped out of high school. So they failed at the first starting point, but they found another route. They found another way to get to the finish line. And that's just it. There's no reason anybody should bash failure, because we're going to have our moments where we're going to fail. Nobody has ever lived at this time. You have not lived in this moment. This is the first time you're experiencing this. This is the first time you're going through this. So for you to sit here and think that you're going to have it perfect, it's not going to be okay. When I went through my divorce, I sat down and I told my ex, I'm like, I don't look at this as a failure, because neither one of us seen a successful marriage. We have never been through marriage. So how are we going to know how to be through marriage? He didn't like that, but now he understands it. Now that me and him, we talk and we educate each other. Nobody has taught us how to get through marriage. All we learn as women is we grew up with Disney movies thinking that, we get the man, that's it, happily ever after. But they don't teach us how to be a good wife. They don't teach us about the struggles of making a marriage work or making a relationship work or being a good parent. We just witness of what we saw on TV or what we see in our family household. And I feel bad for the generation below us, because most of them are raised off of television or social media.
Like, in that way, it's a blessing and a curse.
It is.
Because they actually are exposed to a lot more examples of people expressing empathy, being, compassionate, having like an actual barometer for not being able to just judge people off jump. And we had those same type of examples, but it was just one or two people. You had like a Mr. Rogers or a Sesame Street, like teaching you, be kind to others, respect everybody, be kind, have pride in your neighborhood, like, take care of your neighbor. We grew up with a lot of those same values, but it was only one or two sources. These kids are getting these sources left and right, but they're, also getting twerk videos, busted challenges. But the thing is, like, it's not media's responsibility to teach your kids empathy or sympathy or compassion.
Or responsibility.
And it's like, or responsibility. Like, I had to tell my daughter, fail often, then fail better. Whenever you fail, just fail better. You got a lot of
really dope sayings, bro. I like you.
Right, like
he's been my friend forever.
Just fail better. Like, even if you,
he definitely got the
run somewhere. I'm just saying, if you're trying to run somewhere and you only took like 2 steps, and the next time you took 2.5, you failed, but you failed better than you did the last time. It's proof you can do better than that. So show me 3 steps. Show me 3.5. Show me 4. Show me 10. And if you can't make that 10 steps, I'm not going to be ashamed of you. I'm not going to be embarrassed of you. I'm not going to beat your ass. I'm not going to threaten you. I'm not going to marginalize you. I'm not going to snub you. I'm not going to be passive aggressive with you. However far you make it on your own merit, all I ask you to do is show up.
Now, see, I can't say that.
Exactly.
Because I tell my kids in a heartbeat, you're going to fail, and I'm going to make fun of it. But then I'm going to help you make it to where you need to be. I'm going to make fun of it. I'm going to practice.
Like, we can laugh together. We can laugh at you fucking it up together, but we got it. You just got to keep trying.
So we done talked about kids. We done talked about failure. We done talked about mental health. So here's what I want to ask on that, because I know a lot of guys, and it's bad because my ex, when he got out the military, medically retired, there was a moment where I was the only one making money. And until they finally said, yeah, you're 100%, he was 80% medically retired and stuff like that, he felt depressed because I was the breadwinner. Now, in this particular question that I'm going to pose to you gentlemen, in a moment at any point in time where you had been in between jobs, didn't have money, or, just felt like you were not doing enough in a relationship, how did you deal with that? Because honestly, I feel like as a woman, when I'm not working, because I was raised to not have to depend on a man, I know as men, y'all are basically raised that y'all are the breadwinners, y'all are the ones supposed to be taking care of the household, the woman, this, that, and the other. How do y'all deal with those in-between situations, that outside sources of not being able to say you're the breadwinner or your girl makes more money than you or things of that nature? Because I know a lot of people still deal with that stigma and still deal with those anxieties and that depression. So let me go ahead and give the floor to Santana because, he's the quiet one today. So I got to pick on him. I'm sorry. It's out of love, boo.
Nah, you good. When I've been in a situation before, like, because it ain't really been too many times, but the one time I was, like, in between jobs and she had to hold things down for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, it did affect me a lot. I was depressed. I was used to, at that point in time, I had been used to just taking care of everything. And I mean, really, I got through it and got around that feeling really just by talking to Britt, like being honest with her and talking to her and just, I mean, just always trying to practice self-awareness in the sense of, hey, I mean, yeah, you might be in between jobs right now, but you did hold things down for 4 straight years on your own. If she don't have a problem, if she has no problem holding you down, and that's your wife, you married her, I mean, she been holding you down this long, just let her hold you down.
Okay, but, so I'm gonna say Santana is the exception to the rule because he got a real one. I met his wife. I love her to death. But he got a real one. In that particular case, they both deserve their flowers. But this is what I sit down and I look at. There's a lot of women out there, especially a lot of these, city girls and the girls who are, trying to be like, oh, I'm bad. I don't need a man by myself, this, that, and the other. They've never had to experience dating somebody who was an artist and they were struggling to be an artist. Or they never had to date with anybody who wanted to start up their own business, where they know that they're going to end up dishing out a lot more money to end up getting to where the point they want to and holding them down when they're in between jobs or trying to get their crafts off the ground. The thing is, though, we know that it affects y'all when y'all are not doing the things that y'all need to. And in my particular perspective, how I basically try to handle, I can never say that my marriage did not work because I did not make it work. Like, I did everything in my power to make it work. But it was one of those things where even if you say, hey, you're home all day, how about you clean the house? Like, maybe do something with your hands to kind of keep you busy, because my ex didn't want to just sit at home and do nothing. It wasn't like he wasn't looking for a job after and stuff like that. I told him every time, I'm like, hey, you're looking for a job. I'm proud of you. Hey, you know what? You cleaned up the house. I'm very proud of you. Like, it was just, to him, it was just weird hearing it from his wife, because he wasn't used to being told that somebody was proud of him, that somebody, was like, hey, look, I noticed you did X, Y, Z. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much for doing that. Oh, you ran me some bath water because I was working a 9-to-5 job getting cussed out by customers? Thank you, baby. Come on. Let me, Glock 9,000. But, because if you watch my Twitter, I literally said I chose violence this morning. You deserve, morning sex and some head. If you did your shit. You deserve it.
That doesn't solve everything.
It doesn't. It does not. But in that particular case with him,
but it goddamn sure helps.
It helps. Hey, sex actually is scientifically proven to boost your self-esteem and your confidence. I'm just not getting it, but I have confidence because this right here, my podcast, is my baby. This is where I let off of my steam.
But I do, to piggyback a little bit off your point, it was a podcast that I was listening to, and there was a woman that was speaking on it, and she said the one thing that she always will tell her boyfriend, or something that she will always speak on is, "Hey, you do not. I don't look at you to be the provider." She was like, "You are more than just the provider." And to hear that from a woman, even saying that to a man is like you don't hear that often, because guess what we was taught as is to be provider. So when a man can't do that, he feel like he's nothing. It's just like when a woman feel like she can't give birth to a child. Y'all been taught that is something that a woman should do, or
A mark of womanhood. Yeah,
it's part of your womanhood. So when a woman feels like that, then they feel less of a woman. But it's like, stop instilling that type of stuff in these kids, because so then they don't have to grow up and look, you are more than just a provider. You are more than just, birthing a child. You are you first and foremost before any of that.
Yep.
And you are your own individual. Now, yes, you're going to have your moments where you do struggle, and everything ain't going to come to you at once. Like, you're going to have to endure, and you're going to have to endure a lot.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, as women, we fall back on men to reassure us, not thinking that, damn, he might need reassurance. Maybe he might think, maybe he needs to know he did a good job. Because
that hit my soul.
Because we need reassurance. I can tell you straight up, as a woman, I sit here and say, I don't need a compliment all day, every day, no problem. But let the person I'm talking to tell me, hey girl, you look good. I'm like, okay. But then when it comes down to men like to be complimented too. And I hate to mention my ex Quinn, but he was the one who basically brought that up to my attention. Fuck him, first and foremost. But I have to say, he did teach me some stuff. He did teach me that men do like to be catered to as well. And this is before Cater to You even came out by Beyonce. So for me to hear that from a man and then turn around and Beyonce say the same thing, and women are like, oh, I would never do that for my man because he's supposed to cater to me. Men need to be catered to. You guys need to be reassured. You guys need to have us to breathe words of affirmation into you, tell you how amazing you are. You like gifts too.
Love languages now.
Exactly.
I'm honestly gonna say one of the realest things you're probably ever gonna fucking hear from a perspective of a man to give to another man. If a woman can do one thing for any man, doesn't matter what her status is in his life, that's all we need. Just be nice to me. That's all. Just
some women can't even do that.
Fucking nice to me.
Some women can't do that, and I have to.
You ain't even got to go above and beyond and shit, and like make me a dinner and give me a blowjob and rub my back and rub my back.
Don't say that.
Like,
you do gotta
please, just be nice to me. That's all. Like, just don't talk to me fucking crazy. Treat me with dignity and respect. Give me some just kindness, and that's all. Like, you got me for life.
Well, from my point of view, to answer the question I was asked, my wife has made at least 2 times as much as me since I met her. I have known her, not been with her, but known her for 20 years, 21 years this coming August.
Oh,
there has never been a time when she didn't make more money than me. Never. I have worked my fingers to the bone trying to catch up. Can't do it. She is a phenom. Anything she tries, she excels at. It's fucking frustrating.
She's a goddess. Go ahead. Keep working. Go ahead, girl. I want to be like you when I grow up.
God, it's frustrating as hell. But I had to learn that I am blessed to have that in my corner. Because whenever I want to do something, like when I have a small business that I'm trying to get on the ground or get off the ground, she applied just a small part of her knowledge to what I was trying to do in a moment. And she fixed so much stuff for me. And it only took her 5 minutes. It took me 2 weeks to even figure out there was a problem. 5 minutes.
Wow.
Here she comes. Fix every fucking thing. The biggest problem I think a man has in that situation is allowing his pride to dictate his responses.
Yeah, that pride.
Pride is the worst enemy, especially in the black community.
It's
And pride
it's
comes
one of
before the
the
fall.
few things we know how to do is be prideful. We are really, really big on maintaining our image, our reputation, and our self esteem.
If it's one
Problem
thing we
is,
got, is the audacity.
nigga, we got that in spades, don't we? All the audacity. But the craziest thing in the world for me though was when one day I said to my wife, sometimes I just don't be feeling like I belong here because my nigga, I'm making 37K a year. Your ass over there making 80. I feel like you'd be so much better off with somebody who could bring more to your table.
But you
And she
already
was,
bring more to the table than need be.
wait. So my wife, at the time, my wife said, "Who cooks dinner every night?" Because I cooked a brand new meal every day at the time. She was like, so I was like, "I do." She was like, "Okay, who does the grocery shopping?" "I do." So who picks our sons up from school? "I do." Who goes up and picks up shit whenever something goes wrong? "You do." When somebody has to take off from work, you do. So you do all the shit I cannot or should not or don't want to do. You already had a plan to do it. If you weren't here, there would be no table.
Word.
So
She
y'all
said
have matching grave sets, right? Already
that.
planned out. Y'all are for lifers at this point. Till death do y'all part, and then after.
Listen, all of that she was doing, and I was still at the time. I was an ain't shit nigga. I was still trying to figure out what the difference was between giving constructive criticism and being a hater with where she's concerned. Because like I was very trash in a lot of ways, and she still was like, "No, this is how you fix this. No, this is how we're gonna do that." She's wonderful with money. Let me tell you, I grew up in an era where no man gives a woman any kind of access to his money. That's fucking
Yep.
stupid, according to everybody I grew up with. But here's the
Yeah,
craziest shit in the world. Here's the craziest shit in the world to me. You're gonna marry somebody, attach yourself to them in every legal way, but then deny them a right to know how much money you have. We're
Make it
gonna
make
build a
sense.
house together. We're gonna build a home, a home together. We're gonna build a family together. But if she knows how much money I make, that's a problem. So I went there. That shit just didn't make sense. And then she's fucking, like I said, everything she do, she's phenomenal at it. She applied herself to this budgeting thing to the point now where I just put money in our joint bank account. I just dump everything in there. Just go ahead. You got it. Just let me know if I gotta work, like do something extra to get some extra money because we trying to do some extra shit. Just let me know.
She a
That's
real
me.
one. She's definitely a real one. I can tell you, not many women will stick with men and tell them or breathe words into affirmations with them when they're at their lowest. Because especially now with a lot of generations, we are, especially millennials, we are practicing for divorce. As I used to tell people, like we would get in relationships and break up so damn quickly because one little thing goes wrong versus trying to work through it. So then, like for me, I'm weird because when I get into relationships, I try to talk it out, try to work things out. And then when I've exhausted my last possible attempt, I'll even look at it and come at it a different way. Like I'm a strategist. Like that's just how I am. I come at it at a different way. I was talking to somebody up until recently, and sat here and I told them everything I could possibly do to help them, but they kept thinking I was coming to attack them because that's what they were used to. And then I walked away from the situation because I'm like, you know what? You think I'm coming to attack you, and I want to see you succeed and be the best that you are. I'm not bad mouthing this person. I'm never gonna bad mouth this person. Two of the people in this room know about this person.
Heavy cough.
So 2 people in this room know about said person and what I have done for said person, including my producer and my roommate. And I mean, I did everything in my power to be there because I had feelings for this person. I saw the potential and the greatness that they could be. But then at the same time, they had a lot of red flags and toxic flags that they don't want to admit or see themselves. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna let you do your little internet persona thing and pretend like you're a great person. Okay, whatever. But in real life, this is what you are, and you don't want to progress past that and get rid of your toxic nature. If he gets rid of
Over
that,
here
then
in
he'd be great.
reality.
But honestly, when it comes down to it, as women, we see the potential, and if we see the potential, we're going to put in the time and the effort to build you up as well, because this is an empire. Our relationship is an empire. We're building a universe together. We're building an empire together. And when you're not able to be your strongest, that's when we supposed to come and help and everything else like that. If you look at how the Egyptians were, most powerful men were powerful because of their wives. They were there. Yes.
One of the things there's a saying that I always found interesting when I see a woman get upset about. It's behind every strong or powerful man is a powerful or strong woman. Mm. And women be mad about that statement because it means that they're behind. That's not what that means. It does not mean that whatsoever. It means I've been seeing that more and more. It's
how they perceive it. It's how they perceive it. It is literally how they perceive it. And I tell people, we can read the same book. Yep. And you may get one perspective of it, or you only read or understood it this way, while I may understand it this way, but the writer wrote it this way. So we might not even be right the way the person wrote it. When a person sit here and say behind every great man is an even stronger or a strong woman, I look at it as she helped him get there. We are side by side.
Every
we are
step
partners.
Of the way.
We are not
every step.
Basically, I'm not standing behind him. I'm right there with him. We are just he's taking that front end to protect me. And it's not because I'm behind him because I'm lesser than him. He's being the shield because he knows I'm the most valuable asset. Just like your brain is behind your skull, and your skull is the most powerful thing. So in my opinion, anybody I date, they're my skull. I'm the brains. That's just it. Because I'm the one who balance checks books, and I think strategically. So
that part right there. My wife, without my wife, I would only have one business, and it would be a bad one. Okay.
Hey, at least you honest.
Look, and I've say that about a lot of dudes. A lot of dudes think that they got somewhere on their own. That's a lie, my G. At the house with some chick who was holding you down, you didn't have to worry about it. Unless you were single the entire time, you had help. And I guarantee you, unless you had a run of the worst, them women helped you out.
And I mean, like, even if she wasn't helping you in a way that you may think, she may have just been there supporting you. She could have just been there motivating you. She could have just been there keeping you happy. And it's not about, was she putting in money? Was she sharing my stuff? No. Was she there for you emotionally? Was she there holding you down? Because I don't care what no man says, because I know there's a lot of men out there who like to cuddle. She may have been cuddling you that night that you were having a stressful day at work.
She came and sat down next to you and rubbed on your little earlobe while you had your head in her lap and you fell the fuck asleep looking at the wolf. Like, tell her the littlest things, bro. My wife, first of all, if we get me started talking about my wife, we're going to have to stop me talking about my wife because I love that woman, okay? So,
look, bro, I understand. I can talk about mine all day, too. So.
All day, bro. All day.
I love seeing black love. Look at this. Okay.
Yes, beautiful.
If it wasn't for her, I would never have started this. Like, she was the one who educated my children emotionally enough to be able to have a conversation with me about their emotions. Because for me, your emotions were just something you had in your pocket.
Right.
You can go ahead and take them out, put them back on the dresser when you come talk to me, because I don't really got nothing to do with that.
Well, thank you, Panda.
Damn, I'm on that. Just like that.
That was the depth and breadth of my emotional education. So I actually have been seeing a therapist now for a little under a year. I encourage you, if you are a black man who grew up between the years of 1980 and 2000, I encourage you to go get a therapist.
Man, he casted a
Make that move, sir. Make that move.
And don't,
It will help.
under any circumstances, don't walk in the room with that mentality of I'm not gonna tell him this and this.
Nah,
Tell
you gotta be
your
honest.
therapist everything, because if you keep it back, you can't be helped in that area.
Correct.
I love my
There's a
therapist.
there's a saying that I heard. It was this woman said it. It's a Christian saying, but it applies to this. If you don't pray about it, God can't help you with it. If you don't tell your therapist about it, your therapist cannot help you address it, and your therapist cannot help you move on from it.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, most people just don't realize if you don't talk about it, you're bottling it up. So you actually open up for the next question, which is how do you deal with your stress and your emotions, like when it comes to work, relationships, and things that are out of your control? How do you deal with it?
I mean, you look at your examples and you look at your mentors, and they tell you the same thing. Like, oh, my parents beat me and I turned out fine. All I did was pray about it and I turned out fine. I didn't do this and I turned out fine. Like, parents and adults in general that are in our group for mentors or just adult guidance, you're going to hear the same expressions. I did the best I could. You were difficult. You didn't believe hard enough, or you didn't pray hard enough, or you were just being hard-headed, or it wasn't that big of a deal. You don't know nothing because you're young.
Oh,
So
Lord, I
you
hate
get
that.
invalidated at every fucking time.
Did you grow up in upstate New York, like down the block from me, bro?
No, he from Chicago.
Oh, no, this is some universal shit. This some universal shit. It may as well, like, trust me.
It's crazy how the black experience is universal.
It is. No matter
Because
where you
slavery
come
is
from, whether
universal.
you're from the South, the Midwest, the West Coast, the East, New York, it seems like that's a common thing where it's just like constantly when it comes down to mental health, especially for men, you guys are told not to express your emotions. And if you upset about a job, firing you, you have to deal with that shit at home. By yourself in a car before you get home in front of your significant other. So
Yeah, you gotta cry right in the shower by yourself.
So this is the thing is though, I always tell people, when we go through relationships, especially when it comes to marriage, I can say on the experience of me, when I sat here and I went through and I listened to my vows and they went through sickness and health, and you guys know I am not Christian in any way, shape, or form. I'm a spiritualist, but my ex-husband was a Christian. I still listen to those vows. I grew up in a Roman Catholic / Baptist household, so I know what those values mean. So I put those into my life and every day, where I'm gonna love you through sickness, through health, till death do us part. We gonna work this out. You mad? Go to the other room, go play some video games, and come back and we come and reconvene and talk. But even then, with him, like, he didn't know that he had problems. And me, towards the end of our relationship, the reason it didn't work is because I was like, I'm seeking therapy. I know I have problems. And I can see you have problems. And I can tell you're hurting. And you don't want to talk to me. You don't want to disclose it to me. And I'm your wife. And if you can't come to me and talk to me, then maybe you need to go seek a therapist. We could even do couples therapy and try to go that route. He didn't want to listen until he realized that, you know what? My therapist is saying I got to do what's best for me.
Right.
I can't keep beating a dead horse.
My wife actually gets upset at the statement I used to make. I'll figure it out. Because she blew my mind with this shit. She said, how do you say that we join together as one, but you don't go off and figure out our problems by yourself?
Because your problems is no longer your problems. There are problems. Right. Even when when you start a relationship with somebody, and this girl, let's say, for instance, I say this all the time, you done hit the crazy spot with this chick. And now at this point, she done already picked a white picket fence house. She done already basically had your last name. Now your problems are not her problems. We gonna find a solution together. Don't tell me you gonna figure it out.
Just to put this in perspective, my wife is the first woman to ever use my car and put gas in it. That's how I knew she was the one.
Damn.
She used my car and she
That's that
filled
real
up the
shit.
gas tank.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
some real
just,
shit.
it was random as fuck. I was on
But
the
sometimes
tank.
it be those simple things, just like that.
So look, she also told me one day I don't even know what the fuck I was doing, but I was also saying I need to go get something to eat. It was like the middle of the day. And she said, "No, you don't. Food already at the house. I ordered food an hour ago."
Keep her. I like her.
So here I am. Look, here I am trying to figure my life out, but my life has already figured me out.
There you go.
Sometimes you just gotta listen.
You gotta listen. People
So-
get put into your life for a reason. If you find that one woman who puts not just herself first, she also puts you first as well. Like, hey, look, we equal together. We on the same playing field together. The same plateau together. If I'm eating, you eating. If I order food for myself, I already ordered food for you.
Right. Like, it took me a long time to get to that point. We've gone through some things and some stuff. She's always been, and I like to say it this way because she don't like it when I say it this way. She's always been smarter than me. Like, I'm smarter than everyone else, but she's smarter than me.
Because even I look at it this way, and I hate to say it this way, but this is the best logical way to look at it. As women, when we get in relationships, you guys are not our competition, but you are definitely our Spade's partner. In a way.
Yeah.
Let's think of it that way.
Yeah.
You are Spade's partner. And so we already, without knowing or without communicating, we got to know what your hand is ahead of time. So we know how to play our hand accordingly. So even in a way, even if you're not our competition, we still got to strategize in our own relationships on how to make the relationship work, how to make the relationship balance. Oh, I noticed that he's having a good day. He's having a bad day. We pay attention to every little thing in relationships. And when we care about our partners, of course we're very attentive to it. Of course we pay attention to what they're saying and what they're doing. And we want to make sure, we noticed he didn't eat today. Let me order him some food real quick. You know what? I noticed he wasn't having a good day at work today. Let me, rub his back. Or let him play the game and not bitch. If we really care about that man and they doing everything that they need to be doing, and we want to make things work, we're going to talk it out. We're going to work it out. We're going to, dang, I'm quoting lyrics. We're going to do everything in our power to make our partner happy, because guess what? We're only as good as our teammate.
Facts.
That's it. We're only as good as our teammate. So if we're sitting here and I'm having a bad day and you having a bad day, we both got to bring ourselves up together. Because guess what? Now both of us having bad days. We gotta inspire each other to be great. We don't need, outside forces are trying to see us not succeed. We need to succeed for our being, because society's already basically saying, oh, they ain't gonna make it. Hollywood basically said, couples don't last long. They gonna go through hardships and break up, and that's it. And
I'm sorry, my children just came home.
You did the great thing. You had to be a dad. It's all right. It happens. So, I mean, like, we have to build each other up within our relationships, and we have to breathe words into our guys. My ex-husband, I can tell you, out of all my exes, him and my very first boyfriend were, like, the two luckiest people I've ever dated, because I used to sit there and take them places they wanted to go. My ex, he wanted pieces for his motorcycle. I bought a replacement muffler for his motorcycle with one of my paychecks. My last ex, he wanted to go see The Killing Joke when it came out. I took him to go see The Killing Joke. I surprised him. Full blown with his favorite candy. Had a whole letter, like a little card, because he was having a hard week. He just got released out of the military not too long. He was feeling bad about himself, and I knew he needed that pick-me-up. But a real woman, when we are very attentive to our partners, we are going to pay attention. We're going to sit there and, cater to them and give them things that they need to help boost their ego. Because at the end of the day, when you guys are sad, we're sad too. We may not let on that we're sad because you guys are sad, but we feed off of y'all emotions just y'all feed off of ours.
Right. And to try to bring it back to the thing that we've already been talking about this whole day, which is the mental health issue, is that will allow us to realize that we can be vulnerable to you. Like when you're able to do the things that we're not even thinking that we need for us, that means that we can tell you the things that we wouldn't have told someone else. That means that we have a quote unquote safe place with you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a big responsibility on your end? Yes, but it's also big for us to have even discovered that with you.
Yeah, it is.
Because so many of us are taught to be vulnerable with the woman that we're with is a weakness in itself.
Now that
Here's
I
the
did
thing.
not know.
Now, I don't know how
Facts.
everybody else in here grew up. Okay, so let me not speak for every other man, but I used to sell drugs years ago. And one of the craziest things I ever heard, because it makes so much sense, is you don't be vulnerable with no bitch, because a vulnerability is a weakness. Vulnerable don't mean no strong shit.
Yeah, facts. Facts, no. You right.
It's
So
true.
what you look like being vulnerable with her?
And this is a person you supposed to be spending the rest of your life with.
I learned this
The
on
one
the
you
block
belong
with a
to.
bunch of other dudes.
Yeah. I honestly kept hearing the expression when I was younger, especially from older dudes, like, you can't see what's going down with tears in your eyes. So that was the big one.
Yeah, I grew
Like
up hearing
how?
that boys don't cry for my brother because I was around my brother a lot.
So how are you supposed? Now here's what's crazy. You just pointed it out. I'm supposed to build a life with, build a family with, build a home with a person that I can't allow to be close enough to know where I need help.
Well, see, that's just because you're obviously not strong enough to handle it on your own.
Wait though.
So you have to
Wait though.
get tougher.
Wait. Hold on. Let me throw another one in here.
Right?
Parents. Period. Stop telling your sons that they pimps and gangsters. Stop telling your son that that all the little girls gonna want him. Stop telling everybody all the little boys gonna be scared of him. Why? For what? What are you building when you tell him that?
You're basically already kind of setting up competition. You're trying to have your child ready to compete with everybody.
With everyone. Now the rest of
not
his
even
life,
just that.
the rest of his life is gonna be about proving that he can get more hoes than everybody, that he fight better, that he's slicker with the verbiage than everybody. Everything is a
Yeah.
competition. Every mother out there, I want you to realize when you're telling your son that, you're building that ain't shit nigga that you hate.
True.
Women,
Additionally, you
I'm
start
sorry.
grooming
I say this a
children.
lot.
So it's crazy to me that you would do that. Like, go and get him fly, cool. Do that, because that's what you want to do. But don't do that with the impression building in his head that he's always going to be the flyer. Because he won't. Somebody's gonna buy something that your ass ain't even thought of having, and then all the little girls gonna like that. Now he gonna try to compete with that nigga.
Then you're gonna have something to prove.
Yeah. Kids want to make you proud, and they want to do whatever it is you hope for them, because their dreams when they're young and they don't know much about the world are very limited to whatever your dreams and aspirations are for them. So when you start telling them, oh, you're going to be a lady killer, blah, blah, whatever, it starts putting this idea in their heads that that's who they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for those kids who grew up gay, trying their best to act straight, to fit in, to not be a disappointment to their Christian household, don't start putting the idea on their heads that young that they need to be obsessed with women. They need to be chasing women. Because you know how many women's hearts are going to get broken when they found out that he's not into you? Because you're pushing this agenda. How many women or men are going to go through these marriages to just end up divorced 10 years down the line, or on the down low because you've been pushing them in the wrong fucking direction?
Right, and then the women who teach their sons that. Didn't some dude do that to you? Don't you tell everybody how dudes ain't shit, how we all dogs, how we don't know how to handle a woman, this, that, and the third, because a nigga been doing that to you your whole life. Now you gonna raise your son to do that same shit?
And then
Hurt people,
parents
hurt
turn
people.
around, and when girls sit here and say,
True.
"Oh, I didn't raise him like that. I didn't raise him like that." Yes, you
Yes, the
did.
fuck you did.
And the thing is, like I try to tell people, it starts with the parents. It starts within the household. It's the child's choice whether or not they are going to consume and absorb and digest what they have basically been consuming and digesting since childhood. But it is our job as parents to raise our children to be kings and queens and actually breathe words into them, telling them that it's okay to be okay, not setting up these high expectations they may not even reach. That you have to tell your child you're going to accept them no matter what they are, because at that point a child's going to be scared to be their true self in front of you.
Yeah. True. And honestly, like, and I'm not trying to be divisive in any way, but my thing is, like, no, I don't perpetuate that for my kid. Like, to each his own, but I don't want my kid, like, I don't see myself as a king. And that's not because I'm in some way less than or whatnot. I just have some fucking humility about how I want to live a simple life. I don't want to be the king of anything. I don't want to be the president of anything. I honestly just want to live a life of humility.
I love that. I love that.
And kindness.
Because
that's
every kingdom has scholars. Every kingdom has soldiers.
That's
every
what I
kingdom
mean. I'm
has
like,
farmers.
if everybody's
every
a fucking
kingdom
king and if
merchants.
everybody's a queen, then
the
who's
regular
minding the
people
library?
making the
Who's
kingdom?
tending the fields?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that doesn't make you any less because you're a
That's
farmer.
dope.
It doesn't make you any less because you're out here running the fucking library.
Nigga, you just hurt my
you.
feelings. That was dope.
You
Like,
gotta
I'm perfectly
understand that
fine
every
out here
stage that
tending
you're
to my
at in your
fucking
life
garden.
is a learning experience. Every stage that you go through in life is something to build you to be better, and as a person that you learn the lesson. Now, if you choose to end up not learning the lesson, then that's of course on you. But not everybody. Everybody has an importance. The principal, all the way down to the janitor. Everybody is important in their own level. Whatever space and level you at, until you get to the final point that you want to be at. And guess what? You ain't going to be at your final point until you in the dirt. But you going to keep being important at every stage in your life. I tell people, especially a lot of my friends who are still battling with suicidal thoughts, especially my male friends who are going through breakups, especially because of COVID, because a lot of them went through breakups during that time, or finding out that their girl was, with someone else at that time. I tell them all the time, I'm like, at this moment in life, you may not feel like you're important to anybody, but there's somebody out there who looks at you as you are the world. Whether it's your family, whether it's a friend, just because you were there one night at 3 o'clock when they were crying about somebody hurting them, or just talking and venting to them because they were stressed. Your existence is important no matter where you are. And then even with guys, when they're at their lowest point, when they don't have a job or they're in between housing or whatever the case is, at that moment, there's somebody out there who wants to help you, who wants to be there for you, who thinks the world of you. And that's just it. And I mean, like, everybody comes from some kind of beginning. I came from a beginning that most people look at me like, oh, I would never have thought you came from an abusive household and you have mental health issues and you battle depression with suicidal thoughts. I'm like, because I had to take steps to get here. I had to take moments of sitting down, talking to people, other people who are in my situation, seeking therapy for myself, working through relationships to get there. And I feel like even with the guys now who are fighting for their mental health, they witness their fathers being distanced and they realize that it's hurting their kids. And they were like, dang, I remember how much this hurt me growing up. I don't want to be like that.
A big issue, I think, with us, though, is a lot of us, like, we look up to our OGs, and our OGs are still telling us that this is some bullshit. This is some weak shit. The problem with that is we all grew up in, I don't know everybody else. A bunch of us grew up in broken homes. Most of our OGs did too. How do we fix the problem of the broken home without addressing the problem in the broken home?
Correct.
start your own household from scratch is the only other alternative.
I'm not right. Facts, just like that. I'm not here to tell you you need to be married and you two need. No, I ain't saying all of that. I'm saying that whatever family structure you got, you can find whatever the biggest issue is within that one from the one you grew up in. I had a bunch of issues in my family with my wife because my daddy taught me that women have two purposes and neither one of them is lifelong. Neither one. My father, to this day, at 60 plus, has 4 girlfriends and will always. 2 of them, he don't even sleep with no more. They just do his laundry, cook his meals, and clean his house.
Papa was a rolling stone. Hey. Wherever he is. I'm done.
Let me tell you something. While other dudes was learning how to change tires and change oil and do a tune-up and what's that noise in your engine and what that means, I was learning how to put a suit together, how to put wine with food, how to present yourself in a social situation. My father was grooming another pimp.
Because that's all he knew.
So, facts. So my sister, who he also taught these things to, was doing all the pimp shit. Had a few dudes who was buying her shit. Had a few dudes, like she had a Benz. When she was 22, she had a Benz.
Tell sis to hit me up. I want to get like her. I'm joking. I want to get like her.
Yo, I know that she happened to pay for that Benz, but I know where the money came from. So it's like we teaching our kids shit, and then we be mad at how the shit turned out. A lot of people would say that my sister was a hoe. What they don't know is she wasn't sleeping with none of these niggas. They was just giving her money.
She was a Mac.
They was giving her money based purely off the promise. Because for some odd reason, a lot of us will do anything for the promise.
Oh, most definitely.
Close your door and stop being nosy. Thank you.
I have a whole exclusive content place that I have, and I have not slept with none of those people. And they're like, I want to give you money. So I get where the promise is. Even guys are finessing just from the promise too, because there's some women, and I'm going to use my old friend, because we're not friends right now, Marquise. A lot of these women look at him because he's not really super famous, but they look at him as, oh, he's single and he's an artist. He's done work with Cardi B, this, that, and the other. And they get all up, in their feelings about a promise of potential. Like, I probably, slay him. And then they want to shower him with stuff because they feel like that's what get attention. And guys could do it too. Celebrity males can do it too. And even then, good looking males, especially with things like TikTok and things of that nature, where you got these good looking men who are sitting here just smiling in the camera. Girls are like, shut up and take my money. Because girls are going off of the promise. Like, maybe if I tip you and support you, you might look at me. And I'm like, honey, you ain't the only one doing the same thing. You got to bring a little bit more to the table. Like,
if all you bringing is what everybody else is bringing, what makes you different?
Exactly. And it takes a lot to show that you're better. There's an old, it's not really that old. It's a Casey and JoJo song called One Last Time. There's a line that they basically said that love is more than physical, it's mental, it's spiritual, and it's emotional. Well, I put emotional there. But when you seriously look at it, love is a big thing that men even need as well. That you guys need that love, that empathy. You guys need to have that vulnerability. And when most guys get upset over a breakup or, things of that nature, is because they allowed themselves to get vulnerable and then the girl leaves for whatever the reason. Mental health in our community not only takes just the men's standpoint to do it, but also the women to be mentally and emotionally mature. Most women is quotation and science has been trying to prove that women are more emotionally mature than men. Most of these women are not that emotionally mature. A lot of them are not mentally mature. They just have basically been beaten in the head saying that you mature faster than men emotionally. And that's not true. A lot of us are not emotionally mature. We do a lot of things that are reckless. We let our emotions control us versus thinking this out. Dang, should I go ahead and slash this dude's tires and shit? Because he decided here to go to a whole girl slash versus sitting here thinking, is he worth slashing these tires?
Now here's what's crazy is women are taught that that's okay. Women are taught that it's okay for them to beat on men.
And it's not.
Yeah,
Because they don't get reprimanded for it. And I honestly, that's abusive too. Women are emotionally abusive. Women are the primary offenders of mental and emotional abuse and manipulation to men. And now that men are more likely...
Thank you. I'm glad somebody admitted that.
I'm so very glad. I've never heard a woman say that.
I'm not here to I'm not here to be friends with nobody. I'm here to speak like facts when it comes to mental health. We as women need to stop being emotionally and mentally abusive to men, because if we sit here and cry about shit we should not be crying about to keep a dude who obviously is not happy, that is manipulation. That is using your emotion, your vulnerability as a weapon versus sitting here and letting a person go. Because at the end of the day, they should stay with you willingly. You shouldn't be sitting here crying to keep a person around. A guy is already going through enough strain because now he's like, oh no, I done made her cry. Now I need to work this out. Now I need to stay here. Fuck. I don't want to be an asshole in this situation because I'm not happy. Not realizing now he's staying in a relationship that he's not happy with and it's messing up him emotionally. But as women, we need to stop and take a moment and realize that men have feelings too. We are raised to believe men are supposed to be these robots. Even with it comes down to it, I was always believing that my mom was the more emotional one, and I can go to her for her charismaticness versus going to my dad. If I'm getting talked to by my dad, I'm in trouble. I'm about to get whooped. Like, that's how I was raised, not realizing that's just how the dynamic in the household was made. But then as I've gotten older and I've experienced different relationships in my life, as I've gone through my mental health journey, as well as getting my degree in, sociology as psychology, I'm learning that it's because how we were raised. We are a product of our parents and how our parents raised us. And in order for us to break a lot of these stigmas, we have to instill that in ourselves first and work on our kids, so then when they have kids, we can break that chain. It's a cycle. It's going to be a long task. It's not going to happen overnight. Rome wasn't built overnight. But you guys coming out and talking about mental health and talking about breaking this mental health is actually a very beneficial thing. It's a start. And for y'all being here wanting to talk about dealing with, relationships and vulnerability, I'm happy that you guys are able to sit here and actually show a form of vulnerability to even discuss this right now. Because that's showing a side that you're putting your pride aside to say, you know what? I've had my weaknesses. We got to be better.
Facts.
So, I mean, honestly, when it comes down to a situation like this, what would you say to a man listening to this? And I want to get everybody's little closing thoughts, because at this point, we've answered almost every question I done had. And I don't think anybody's asking any additional questions in the chat. So, I'm going to ask this, and I'm going to give it, I'm going to skip over Zeb and Vince, because y'all going to be my last ones. Because y'all got a lot of stuff that's hitting me in my soul. So I'm going to leave y'all for last because y'all got it. So I'm going to give it to Mr. Walker because you've been the quietest for the longest. So I'm going to give it to you. What would you say to somebody listening, for a man who may be a father, a man who may be trying to find a way to get rid of that pride, to seek that help? What resources would you suggest to them? What would you suggest in all?
The one thing I would suggest is the healing starts from within. You can point the fingers to everybody else and say, okay, I was never my household never taught me this. My father never taught me this. My mother, you can point the fingers all day, but until you look inside yourself and acknowledge that, okay, there is things about me that I would like to change. That's where the healing starts. Because you got to be aware of it first. If you can't even admit it to yourself, then how the hell you ever expect to change anything? So being honest with yourself with that is the first thing. And seek help, even if it's just friends, family, people that you feel like you have that safe space to talk to.
Yeah.
Just baby steps, I know how all of us are. I know how even I am. You don't want everybody up in your business and all that. And sometimes that's actually good to protect you and your family. But at the same time, you have people who give you that space to be able to speak from a vulnerable perspective and give you that open space and that shoulder. And as men, I think we have to, take it within ourselves to be like, okay, this person is doing it out of love. They're not trying to harm me or use me or abuse me in any type of way. Like, it's okay if I'm not okay. That is the point.
You use my statements. Oh, so I understand that. I tell people all the time, you've known me a long time, and Zeb too. I've always been the type of person, if you ever needed a safe space to talk to somebody who was not going to sit here and get in your face about something, I was always going to be that genuine, kind person. I ain't here to do anything. And that's why I create the safe space. And I want to create a community that people can have a safe space that in case they can't go to their significant other or their family or their friends, that they can be able to come to somebody else who's understand or been in that situation and be like, bruh, I got you. Like, what you need, just talk to me. It's all right. Whether you got to go to a bar and talk to some strangers, sometimes you got to do that too. But Santana, what about you, darling?
I mean, what I would say to a man listening to this podcast is, in addition to it's okay to not be okay sometimes, is seek help. Like, for real. And I'm just saying that from experience because I spent so much time bottling up emotions because I didn't come from an empathetic or a really compassionate household. So I bottled up a lot and would self-medicate and suffer in silence. So I just encourage anybody to seek help any way they can. I mean, I know therapy ain't for everyone or may just not be a viable option at the time, but do what you can to try and relieve some of that mental pressure, and don't be afraid to get help from people because it's just when you're drowning in your own emotions or drowning in depression, you can't really see things clearly. You can't see the outside. You can't see the outside clearly. You can't see sunshine through a foggy window. You can't see nothing clearly through an obscure window. I mean, sometimes you gotta take a step back and get help and admit that you need help and admit that you're the problem sometimes. I'm just saying all this. I know I might be rambling, but I'm saying all this just speaking from personal experience. Sometimes we gotta admit that we might be the issue and we might need help.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of us, like as men, at least like in my experience, a lot of us done had that issue of we don't want to admit that we've had our issues or are the problem. And I ain't saying you the problem all the time, but you got to admit where you take, like where you might have, where you contributed to the dysfunction. And analyze where that come from. And you only can do that by getting help. That's like I love my therapist, and she's helped me to do just that. Analyze where the dysfunction comes from and how to move past it.
Yeah, I can honestly say the statement I love saying is a lot of time that, especially it goes a lot with a lot of social media stuff that we're so bent on looking at other people's houses and gardens and their grass that we're not watering our own, that sometimes that the grass could be greener on our side if we do the proper maintenance on it. We are plants in a sense. We have to properly treat it, give it sunlight, nurture it, sing to it, water it, keep it hydrated. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to get to where we need to get to. Like a lot of people who go on losing weight, they don't realize that losing weight is not just about going to the gym. It's about changing your mentality about your body, because you can lose all the weight and still have body dysmorphia. I had it at one point in time when I lost a lot of weight rapidly. And it's just one of those things that, like, sometimes it starts mentally. And in order for you to fully say that you're a healthy person and to be healthy, your brain is so important. It makes everything else in your body function. So if you're not properly taking care of your mental health, your emotional health, everything else in your body is going to show those signs and those effects. It's just proven. You panic over the little things. It's a mental thing. And there's nothing wrong with having anxiety. There's nothing wrong with having depression, because we are going to have situational depression. We're going to go through things in life. Even men are. It's about mattering how you handle it and properly handling it and how to properly go about it. And there's resources out there. If you don't know anybody who has the proper resources, believe me, I will find the resources, because I want to see all of us succeed mentally. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let this go over to Zeb. What you got for me, boo?
All right, so this is just closing advice for men?
Closing advice for men.
Okay. From my perspective, the easiest thing for me to say is, as usual, going to be the hardest advice to follow. First and foremost, make a mistake. Like anybody listening right now, and this is advice from a therapist. Find something you know you have no business doing. And no, I don't mean go father a baby with some neighbor of yours. Like just something simple. Spill some milk. Put something in the wrong drawer. Put a spoon where the forks go. And then take a moment to realize nobody is going to punish you. Nobody's going to come behind you and correct you. Nobody's going to hurt you because you're an adult. This is your life. This is your environment. And it will cut down on a lot of the anxiety. Just knowing that you're in a safe space where you can express yourself without punishment, or where you can express yourself without fear of somebody else coming behind you or taking away your choices, that's going to be a big deal on its own. Aside from that, I'm going to say that whichever place it is you end up, whatever journey it is you go on as far as like your mental health, don't let the therapist do all the work, because they are not there to fix you. They are there to help you. You're not going there to just basically give them a list of your greatest hits from your traumas. You're there to discuss it, analyze where things went wrong, and then start making better choices in your own life. Find places where you can get closure or change current behaviors based on past traumas. You're not there to basically just tell somebody your life story. They're not writing down your autobiography. And lastly, be comfortable with who you are and where you are. Your circumstances might change. You might make more money. You might move to a bigger house. You might lose everything and have to go back and live home with your mom. But wherever you are, be okay with being where you're at and recognize where you are. Know your limitations. And if you can do that, like I said, I have no interest in being a king. Like, I would rather not be a king next to a queen that makes me miserable when I can just be a farmer and be out here with all my hoes. So,
Yeah.
I'm just
None
saying,
of your
you might
partners
wanna
are
keep
hoes,
that in
Zeb.
mind.
Damn.
Just a thought.
None of your partners are hoes. I like your partners.
No.
Okay?
I meant garden hose. Like that's the farmer metaphor.
Right.
Like I don't know where your head was at.
I'm gonna tell the partner that bought you your eye drops that you
I do have an amazing partner, and that's what I mean. That's the other thing. Like, build a team. Get some people on your team that are legitimately concerned about and care about how you feel. Get people that are concerned about your actual feelings, not what they can get from you, not if you're going to be okay. Because there may be long stretches of time where you're not okay. Just get someone who actually gives a fuck about how you actually feel, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. And keep those people on your team. Don't feel like you're being a burden for reaching out to them. Let them set the boundary. If they don't want you to call so much, they'll tell you. If they don't want you to be blowing their phone up, they'll tell you. If they don't want you to come to them or to help you out with money or whatever, they can always say no. But don't think that you're doing them a favor by fucking off or keeping your mouth shut. You're just making shit worse for yourself. And by default, when you finally come to them, you're making it worse on them because now it's a clusterfuck. They got to help you unfuck. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Thank you, Zeb. You're amazing. I'll tell you that. Have I told you that lately?
Like 6 seconds ago, but I can hear it again.
I told you yesterday, too. Don't do that.
I was just saying, like,
I breathe words of affirmation into all my male friends and female friends, and he knows this, but he likes to be the jokester and say, I haven't heard it in like 5 minutes. So, it's okay. But, Zeb, you're amazing. I know you sound like you're getting on the train. So, Mr. Vincent, go ahead, tap in. What do you got for me? What advice do you have for these young men coming in or closing out at this point?
First of all, fellas, recognize the fact that if you have had sex with someone who was older than you by more than 2 years when you were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's rape. You should stop being proud of that. That is coloring your view of sex. It is putting you in a very bad position with the women that you are trying to build with. And until you begin to admit that to yourself, you are never going to heal from the hurt you don't even realize you had. That's first. Second, stop looking at everybody like they're your enemy. They're not. Most of us ain't even thinking about you. So we don't have time to be your enemy. So when we do reach out with a helping hand, unless you know for certain that we don't like you, it is just a helping hand. That's it. If I don't ask you for $5 for this help before I offer it to you, you don't owe me $5. Thank you and have a blessed day. Third, seek help with everything. Stop assuming that you're supposed to do everything on your own. You're not. You're not even able to do everything on your own. There's no way possible, no shape or form. So seek some help. And the last thought that I have, if I ain't told you nothing else, let me tell you this. You are worth it. Whatever it is, you are definitely worth it. If someone threw you away, remember, people throw $1 million lottery tickets away all the time. That don't mean the lottery ticket ain't worth $1 million. It just means the dummy threw it away.
Amen. For my Christians out there, blessed be for all my pagans and heathens out there. I just go ahead and say it like this. I'm going to piggyback on that. Men, if you don't know if you're not okay, there's other signs. There's telltale signs. A lot of men tend to distract themselves with sex, with social media, through humor. Sometimes those are signs that something's not right. You're deflecting an issue, and sometimes that's not good. It's not productive, especially when it comes to helping people. The reason me and Marquise is not friends anymore is because the fact of being, he was going through something and he thought I was an enemy when I legitimately was trying to give him help. So I just basically was just like, I can't be there for you if you think I'm an enemy at every turn. And I have never given you a reason to believe that I'm out to get you. I'm not one of these females who is out here like, oh, you got a blue check mark. Oh, you've worked with XYZ. I don't care about that. You've been my friend since 2011. That doesn't matter to me. So I walked away from our friendship because I can't be friends with somebody who thinks of me as their enemy when I have no reason to be an enemy. I've defended him even when he's not in front of me. But to each his own, he has his perspective. And I even told him to go seek help. And he got more defensive on me. When somebody is giving you advice and they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart because they care about you and they want to see you succeed, and you get defensive on them, you will push a lot of people away who actually care about you, that want to be there for you. So don't take when a person who cares about you coming to you and saying, hey, I really think you should probably seek help, because me giving you help is not enough, and you're still miserable, and you're still not happy, and you're trying to figure it out on your own because that's what you believe, that's what you need to do. I tell people that I have left a lot of friendships, and it hurt me in the long run because I don't like losing friends. But if I give you advice and you're not wanting the advice, but then you're still complaining about the situation, it's obviously you don't want to get out of that situation. And all I'm going to do is drive myself insane, which the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I don't want anybody to go insane trying to help other people. And you can bring a horse to water, but you damn sure can't make that bitch drink. You can let that bitch be dehydrated. So, fellas, if there's somebody there who sees that you're having issues and they offer you help, take the help. Not everybody is malicious. I understand that we have a lot of backstabbers and trolls in the world, but if a person goes out of their way, out of the kindness of their heart, and they're not trying to get money or monetary gain or have anything out of it other than to see you and your well-being and being at your best, take that opportunity. For my guys here that's joined my show, I thank you so much for being here. I thank you guys for contributing into this conversation. I would love to have more deep conversations with y'all because I love the way you guys mind work. Especially Zeb. Me and Zeb always have daily conversations, especially since he's helping me with my poetry book. He's like, nah, you need to pour those more emotions into this book. And I'm like, but all my emotions, though. And I can tell you, like, I as a woman, I am not as emotional as I should be. So I know that guys have it hard. And I want every single one of you guys to seek help if you need help. Even if it's just getting guidance or seeking guidance from a friend, a peer, a random stranger off the street. Because some people, a random stranger might give you the advice that you might be looking for. Pride is our worst enemy, especially for men. And just know that if you don't feel comfortable enough in your relationships with your partner to be vulnerable with that partner, maybe that might not be the partner you're supposed to be spending your life with. I'm a firm believer on that. If you don't feel vulnerable enough to be with a woman and you just sticking it out because it's just the thing to do, if you're not vulnerable enough to be vulnerable with her, then I'm sorry to her. I understand heartache, but it doesn't work if y'all are not feeling the same vulnerability and being able to come to each other to comfort each other. So with that being said, guys, it is okay to not be okay. For you guys who came, I thank you so much, Mr. Vincent, Mr. Carter, Mr. Walker done left out at this point, and Santana for being amazing, and coming and talking about mental health. I appreciate every single one of y'all. And if I ever need you guys again for some advice, some mental health talks or sit down, I know who to reach out. And Vincent, I might reach out to you about some situational and poverty-driven depression episode that I might be doing later in this year. Because, us people from the hood, we know what that is. But we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it at all. So, and then also Santana and Zeb, I know you guys know about that. Situational and poverty-driven depression is a huge thing. So I would definitely go ahead and probably bring y'all up for another episode on that. So to my fans, to my followers, you guys already know how this goes. It is okay to not be okay. Self-love is the best love. Self-care is the best care. Don't let nobody halfway love you. And it's okay. Seek help. It does not matter if you don't need it or you don't think it's just because it's a small thing. Seek help. You never know. Somebody might give you a different perspective on the situation. And that might be the thing to guide you. So, Till next time, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.
Appreciate you.